day 3 of Madrid. Trash guy came and picked up the trash early this morning, so we heard that outside our room. Still have not quite adjusted to the time here. We're on day 3 and I'm still got the jet lags. Could not sleep till probably 4 in the morning. Waking up here around 7:30. So I've been running on low sleep, but the excitement and energy is carrying me through. And today we're taking the train from Madrid to Salamanca. So when booking your train in Spain, definitely try to do it online. Don't try to do it in person because it's a lot cheaper online. We'll probably end up spending about 30 to 40 more euros for the pretty much the same train ride because we're doing it in person here. Welcome to Salamanca. This is the Plaza Mayor, as all big and small Spanish cities have. They all have a Plaza Mayor. This was constructed in 1755. This plaza has been a bull ring, a marketplace, religious processions, theater, concert hall, and also great for people watching. This is the Casa de las Conchas. It was built in the late 1400s by Rodrigo Maldonado. Now, as you can see behind me, the reason it's called Casa de las Conchas, which is House of Shells, is because of all the shells that are built onto the house. Rodrigo married a girl named Maria, and part of Maria's house's coat of arms was shells, so he put 343 shells on the house as a symbol of his love for her.
The House of Shells has many different architectural styles. One of them is the Gothic style, and you could tell by the structure around their gargoyles, that's part of the Gothic style. And also it has Arab or Muslim influence, as the Arabs were part of Spain for a very long time. And the patio in the center is a testament to that influence in architectural in Spain. Behind me is the University of Salamanca. This is the Catholic university that was built in the early 1600s by King Philip III. So construction of this university began around 1614 after the death of the Queen Margarita, because the king wanted to honor her desire to build this university. She wanted this university to be built in order to train monks and send them to the Americas to convert the indigenous people there. This was also important to them because they believed themselves to be the defenders of the Catholic faith. So by building this university, they would protect Catholicism as Protestantism around Europe was rising, especially Lutheranism. This is one of the most important buildings in Salamanca. So behind me is the University of Salamanca. This is the oldest university in Spain, which was built in the 13th century. Most of the instructors at this university back in the day used to be clergymen because they were the most qualified to give instruction to the students. So the facade of the university has 3 layers. The first one is an allegory about vice and virtue, and there's a story or a legend about a frog being somewhere in the facade, and that frog symbolized sin. So it's a constant reminder for students to choose right over wrong, because if they chose sin, that basically meant death. Another interesting fact about the university was that the classroom layout was designed to have the richest students, the nobility, sit up in the front next to the instructor. Then behind them would be the lower classes. So the facade of the university has a small frog, and there's a tradition that says if you're not able to find the frog, you can't graduate. Let's see if we can find the frog. So the frog is on that right column. You can see the scrolls, and on the scroll to the left, there is the frog.
One of the most popular spots in Salamanca is the old and new cathedral. They're basically buildings that are joined together. One is an old cathedral, and the other one is the newer cathedral. Behind me is the new cathedral. And we're gonna walk into the old cathedral.
So this this is the new Cathedral of Salamanca, and it's called the new cathedral because behind it was an older cathedral that dated back to the Middle Ages. This new cathedral was built in Gothic style, and you can see that with the peaks and the decorations around it. And then the older cathedral is this one behind me. It was built in the Romanesque style, and it dates back to the Middle Ages, back in the 1200s. Garden of Calixto and Melibea. Calixto and Melibea are the protagonists of a love story that is very similar to Romeo and Juliet, where they are lovers and they have their encounters at night here in this garden. Of course, this is a fictional story. And at the end, Calixto dies and Melibea commits suicide because she cannot live without her lover. So this is a very similar story to that of Shakespeare, Juliet and Romeo and Juliet, but it predates Shakespeare by 200 or 300 years before. So this is a statue of Lazarillo de Tormes and his master El Ciego. So this is a very famous story that takes place here in Salamanca, and Lazarillo de Tormes is a little boy, and he's the anti-hero, the protagonist of the story. And what that means is that he has to learn how to survive in a very difficult society. His mom basically gave him off to this blind man, and so he learns how to survive from this guy here. And Lazarillo de Tormes was born right around the river of Tormes. That's where he gets his last name. Lazarillo is his first name and de Tormes is his last name. Although this is a fictional story, it does reflect Salamanca and overall Spain back in the 1500s. We're standing on top of the Roman bridge that would connect Salamanca to other areas of the region. This bridge was built by the Romans in the 1st century. The Roman bridge originally had 26 arches, but only 15 remain now. So you can see the river going downstream, and I can't imagine the Romans building such an enormous bridge with 26 arches for this little small river. I'm pretty sure there was a lot more water running down, probably even hitting the arches that we see there.